In my previous video, we have covered the concept of the conditional formatting. In this video, we are going to understand the data validation. Validation means a check. So data validation in case of Excel it's not a formula. It's not a formula or a function. It's a click-based application by which we can validate or we check the data which we are entering in a Excel cell or a row or a column. This makes our work much more systematic, fast, and there are less chances of error. This application is usually used by when you are sending some particular Excel sheet to somebody else to fill the data, and we want the data to be filled as per a specific condition. Suppose you want to enter only the whole numbers or only the text. So that kind of a check is possible if we put some rules in that particular row or a column, so that when the user is not allowed to enter any decimal numbers, when you have set that the number is only the whole, or we can set some kind of a condition for our numbers as well. The number has to be more than 5, more than 10, more than 20. That kind of a rules we can set. So let's start this concept of the data validation. In the data validation, we would be going to learn three things: how to set a validation on input values, how we can make a drop down list, and third, how we can remove the duplicate values. So this is a list where there is an employee, name of the employees, and they have the target. So the target is set by the employee himself or herself. So if the manager wants the target has to be more than 5, nobody is going to set the target less than 5. So there has to be certain rules which he or she needs to be there put in the target column. So that none of the employee is going to put the target less than 5. So how we can going to do this? So for this, we have to select this entire group of values where the employees is going to set the target. So I'm just removing or just deleting all the values and make this particular column completely blank, and I'm selected the entire column. Now I go to the option of data validation, which is present under the data tab. When you click on the data tab, there is an option over here that is called data validation. When there is a drop down list, the right side of the data validation, when I just click on the data drop down button of the data validation, there is an option of, again the first option is data validation. When I click on data validation, there are three set options are there. One is settings, input message, and error alert. First, I will be there in the settings. So there's an option means allow. What kind of values we are going to allow this target column. So I want the values would be the whole numbers, and all the values must be greater than 5. So none of the employee is going to allow us to set the target less than 5 or not even 5. Everybody is going to set the target at least more than 5, because if you want to achieve a group target, so you'll have to make some kind of an mandatory to have some specific number of targets from each of the employees. And then there is an option of input message. I don't want to show any input message. I want to go for an error alert. Error alert means what kind of a message should be displayed when the employee is going to enter the value in the target column, which is less than 5 or equal to 5. So we are going to give some title that I'm giving the value that is wrong value. And the message is, please enter the value greater than 5. We have in the settings, that means we have to make the whole numbers greater than 5. In the case of error alert, we have made a wrong value as in title. And then there's a message that please enter the value greater than 5. And then I just click on OK. Nothing is going to be happen until unless you enter the value. So I'm going to enter the value. If I enter the value like 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that, there's no problem. If I've entered the value 4, it will give me the error message. This is the title of the message, that is wrong value. And this is the error message. Please enter the value greater than 5. And there's an option to go for retry. When I still enter the value 5, again give me the value, wrong value, please enter the value greater than 5. Then this time I'm going to write 6. There's no problem. Similarly, find the option. This is the concept of the input data validation. So there's a lot of options available in the data validation. You can have option of whole numbers, you can have an option of decimal, you can have the option of date, time, text. A lot of options are available. You can try as per your requirement. Another very, very important application, that is known as drop-down list. Sometimes we are making some Excel data and we send this Excel sheet to number of people to fill some information. And we don't want there will be some kind of spelling mistake or some kind of different spellings or some shortcuts, something like that. We want a specific data going to be entered in that particular column. So suppose there are certain locations, and in our office is having a 3 location. Our office is having a 3 location, that is Delhi, Indore and Jaipur. So we have a 3 locations. So all the employees must be belong to any one of these 3 locations. So I'm going to enter another column where there's nobody is going to write any location option. You just select the location option. So nobody is going to write some shortcut for Delhi, for DEL or Indore to INDR or something like that. So there's another option. Suppose I want to going to enter another column. That column is known as location. For this location, I'm going to select this location for this entire column. For this entire column, I'm going to select the option for the drop-down list. So for this, again, I'm going to go for a data validation. In the data validation, I'll again go to the data validation, another option. In the previous example, we have done with the whole number. This time, we are going to choose the option called list. This time, suppose we have already some information is there. We have written some information, some particular column of having the 3 values written. Suppose I have like here, I am written like Delhi, Indore and Jaipur. So suppose I'm going to select, both the options are available. I'll explain both the options. One, suppose I'm selecting this column, go to this data validation. Then in case of allow, I use the list. And in the source, I'm going to select, this is my source. I'm going to select these 3 values. And then I just click on OK. That's it. Now, there's no need to write the location. You will have in any of the cell when you'll go, you'll have at the side, you'll have a drop down list button option. When you click on this, there's an option, you can select any one. Similarly, when you go to another option, you can select. So this is the option that is known as the data validation, where we allow only to enter value which is specified in the list. And this is a concept of making a drop down list. Number of times we'll have to make some drop down list. So this is a feature called drop down list. In place of making it another option, you can have a data validation, and if you don't want the list no more, you don't want the list, you can make it any value and you can just click on OK. The drop down button is removed. Now you can enter any value. So this is another option which is come under the data validation, that is choose the option as per the drop down list. So that there was two very important part of the data validation. One is allow value in the form of a drop down list or allow value with some restriction. Another feature which is very common, sometimes there will be huge information and we are not able to know if there is some duplicate values or not. If there will be duplicate value, we just don't want. So similarly, there are in my employee list, it was compiled by somebody. So there are some duplicate values. So I just remove the duplicate values. So I'm going to select this particular entire column, and then I go to the remove duplicate. I don't want expand because I want to find out the duplicate values only from the current selection. Give me the duplicate, remove duplicate. There is an option called my data has headers. Headers means this column headings is there. So don't consider this employee as an content. Ignore the employee, because employee, location and target is known as headers. These are the basically column headings. So I'll have to select the duplicate only from the employees, and just when I click on OK, it will show that 21 duplicate values are found and removed. There are 13 unique values are there. So now my data is having a 13 unique values. So this is a concept of the data validation. In the next video, I'm going to explain the concept of the sorting and filtering.